Yes, it's time for part 5.
You know that resin is repelled by silicone or anything greasy on your glass. That's why we clean our glasses with alcohol, because we're always touching them with our fingers. Before you put the resin on, you want to clean them, right? Because you don't want the resin to repel and make fish eyes. But what if you wanted to make fish eyes on purpose? That is what I have been experimenting lately, and oh my gosh, look at that. Do you want to know? Do you want to know how to do this? Watch the video and I will show you. Look at how amazing that is. Look at that. Let's get started. All right, I'm using KS Resin Liquidy Split, which is my go-to for these wine glasses. So I need 2, 4, 5, 6. I'm making 2 sets and I'm going to shoot a video for each set. So you'll see one at a time. I tell you, measuring accurately is probably, it's definitely a top tip. Measure accurately. I pour A first because it's thicker, and then that way it can level out a little bit. And then you can pour part B, which is a little bit thinner. And then we're just going to stir. Okay. So I'm going to use 2 colors. Let me get you down here where you can see. So I've got a cup that I'm going to put some of my aqua mica powder, and then my other cup I'm going to use the eye candy no con blue, and then I want a little bit of white, the ocean white. So I'm going to pour. I don't really need that much white. A little goes a long way when you're doing these waves. So I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to put equal amounts in the 2 cups. And I probably have, that's probably pretty equal. Yeah. So in this cup, I'm going to put the teal that my mica powder fairy sent to me, Katie Donnelly, one of my subscribers. And it's my favorite color. It is so pretty. And then this is the eye candy no con blue. It is a absolute gorgeous, gorgeous blue. And I'm probably putting in, I'd say probably not even a 1/4 teaspoon maybe. And then in my cup is the Let's Resin Ocean White. And this is a liquid pigment paste. And I don't know why it's kind of gloppy right there. I'm gonna have to clean that off because I know it's gonna make a mess if I don't. I'm just gonna take my paper towel and wipe it off real quick. There we go. And seal that up. And then I can use this to stir it. And I'm probably being very ambitious today because I only have about an hour, less than an hour now, to spare before I have plans this afternoon. Now, when you're mixing mica powder in with resin, you want to stir it really, really well so that you get rid of all the dry spots, all the clumps, because that's going to show up on your glass later on. So just stir it and kind of squish it. Look how pretty that is. And this eye candy blue is probably my second favorite color blue. My first favorite being the liquid resin dye from KS Resin in the turquoise. But this one's got a little metallic shimmer to it, so I wanted to use that. Okay, and then the other thing I'm going to use is silicone oil. It's a super lube. I got this on Amazon. And I'm going to pour some in a little, actually I still have some in the cup from the last time. And instead of using my popsicle, or not popsicle, toothpick, I'm going to use a pen because I want very, very small drops. All right, let's get this turning. There we go. And I'm going to go with 2 colors. So a little bit of blue, a little bit of aqua. I'm going to blend it. And I'm going to try to not to be so messy, but I'm only going to put it on like the bottom 3/4 of the glass. I'm not going to go all the way to the top. So about right there. And that's just personal preference. You can resin all the way to the top, but if you do that, you're probably going to have to put a top coat on because anytime you add color to resin, you no longer make it food safe. The additives to resin, like mica powders or pigment paste or resin dyes, whatever, those dyes are not food safe. So no one's going to be licking the resin, right? You would think they wouldn't be. Oh, little fish eyes there. I don't know why. All right, I'm gonna put some along the top. Again, not going all the way to the top, but I'm just gonna even out the very top, but still not going all the way to the top. And then I'll just put a little bit along the bottom. Just rub some on there. I don't know why I got the fish eye. This will be pretty. Okay, hope you can see that still. Oh, that's going to be so pretty. I'm really excited about this one. Look at this. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. Okay. Now I want to put my white on, and I'm just gonna do the very edge, or try to, and try not to make a mess like I just did. I can wipe that up. You don't need very much. Promise. You will see how much it expands when we blow it out. Hope you can still see that. Oh, almost made it. Okay. I've got a little bit left over that I am just going to drizzle. Just like that. Oh, it's already getting thick. And this is a fast cure, so you do not, it's it's meant for coating, but you don't have a long working time at all. So you really got to go fast. That's why it's called liquidy split, because it's cures liquidy split. Okay, wipe my hands, and now I'm ready for the heat gun. And this is where the magic happens. So Wagner heat gun, low heat, high air. And what I'm going to do first is just run my heat gun over the glass to pop bubbles. and to heat up the resin. Now we could leave it like this and it would probably continue to blend, but because it's a fast cure, it's most likely going to set this way. Like there's not going to be a whole lot of movement in the resin. So we're going to encourage the movement. And I'm going to push it up from the bottom first. Normally I push it from the bottom or from the top, but the resin's a little bit thicker. So I don't want it to pool too much at the bottom. So I'm going to push from the bottom first. And get a silicone mat. And now I'm going to push from the top. And you can turn the glass by hand to catch those drips. Kind of a, you want to sort of flip it and catch the drips before they have a chance to drip. See that? So if you turn it by hand, kind of like the method that I used when I was doing the UV resin, kind of like that. So we need to get this one really quick too. This one is going to be really gorgeous. So I have my little cup with the slightest little bit of silicone in it. And this is just silicone oil that I got on Amazon. It's super lube. I use it on my sewing machine, but I have a little bit in the cup and I'm going to use a pen. I'm not going to use my toothpick because I'm not going to use the toothpick because I don't want that much silicone. So I'm going to try to do swirls on this one. It might have already set too much. No, maybe not. It's set too much. No, it's working.
So it wasn't that the resin was too set or, too cured. It's just so thick. This resin is so thick anyway. And then I added the mica powder on top of that and it just made it even thicker. But the cells are popping out. I'm really happy with
Oh,
it.
this is so pretty. Let's do this one, even though I don't think it's gonna work. I'm gonna follow that wave. It's just too thick. It's already getting set.
So I know I sound really, really skeptical when I'm doing the editing and I'm doing this voiceover because I haven't seen the end result. As I'm putting the silicone dots on, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything happening. But I really should just trust the process because look at what I see the next day.
These turned out phenomenal. Look at this. I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup here where I had drips and I forgot to clean them up. Look at that. I didn't think that the silicone cells would spread, but they sure did. And these are textured so you can feel them. And there's hardly any residue because I don't have that much silicone at all on the pen. But look at how amazing that is. Oh my goodness. Look at that. I was not sure that that would work because I did wait. I just waited a little bit too late. But maybe that's the trick if I don't want the cells to spread, is wait until the resin has set up a little bit and then put the silicone on. So, wow, wow, wow. If you have not tried this, you need to give this a try. Holy cow. More experiments with silicone and resin. Look at that. Oh, definitely a winner. Definitely a winner, winner, chicken dinner. Wine tastes better in a pretty glass. So, just saying. All right, make it a crafty day, friends. Bye.